2 years of love. 2 years of being inseparable. Then, on the day that should have marked the beginning of their future together, Jullian Grayson vanished without a trace. No goodbye. No explanation. No warning. Weeks passed, and Marcia's world completely fell apart. The vibrant young woman who once dreamed of building a life with the man she loved is now lying in a hospital bed, broken, silent, and barely holding on. But sometimes, the deepest heartbreak becomes the start of an extraordinary transformation. In today's episode, Marcia begins a journey that will take her across Europe, rebuild her shattered spirit, and turn her passion for wine into a thriving empire. We look at her life, before the man who destroyed her returned. Welcome to Episode 6, The Woman He Left Behind.
Three weeks after graduation, Marcia is in hospital, dehydrated, in a state of depression, and emaciated. She is on admission at the hospital and is feeding only intravenously, as she has refused any food, refusing to speak, refusing to even look at anyone. Her mother sits at the edge of her hospital bed, wringing her hands, while her father stands with his arms folded across his broad chest, staring down at his daughter, his heart heavy. He is looking at the girl on the bed as if he could barely recognize her. In contrast to her energetic, positive self, her bright eyes and wide smile, the girl on the bed has clouded eyes, dry, cracked lips, and gray skin. How is she back here again, lying in a hospital bed? He wonders, the thought weighing heavily on his mind. Marcia's mother, her brow furrowed, touches her ex-husband's arm and says in a soft voice, "Raymond, what do we do?" Raymond looks at his ex-wife, a tall, slender woman with black hair and brown eyes, just like their daughters. He responds, his voice hoarse and barely audible when combined with his usual soft tone. "I don't know, Tracy." That's the same tone Marcia has when she speaks. Yes, when she speaks. Tracy reflects sadly, shifting her gaze back to her child lying in the hospital bed. She hasn't spoken in over 10 days. The door opens and a young woman walks in, brown-haired and blue-eyed, just like Marcia's father. "Annette?" "Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad." Annette says as she walks in, taking her mother's hand and glancing sadly at her father. "Still nothing?" "Still nothing," her mother replies. Annette walks closer to the bed, passing behind her mother, and places a hand on her sister's feet. "Ugh, Marcia, what's happened? What's going on with you?" For the first time that morning, Marcia shifts her eyes to the people around her. Her gaze rests on her elder sister, Annette, and suddenly, tears stream down her face. "Oh no, Marcia, no, don't do that. There's no need for this," Annette says, rushing to her and sitting beside her on the bed, wiping the tears from Marcia's eyes. She was never this pitiful, even when she was constantly admitted to the hospital as a child, Annette thinks to herself. Annette, 4 years older than Marcia, had been old enough to remember when Marcia, as a child, was often in the hospital for one emergency, crisis, attack, or the other, when her sister was much younger. Marcia tries to speak, but her mouth is too dry. "Here." Her father gives Annette a cup of ice chips, and she puts one in Marcia's mouth. The chill of the ice shocks Marcia, but she's too weak to react or even spit it out, so she endures it as the ice warms, melts, and the water slides down her throat. Finally, she speaks through her cracked lips, her voice barely a whisper. Annette leans in, her ear to Marcia's lips. As she sits back up, gazing at her sister, her face is a torrent of emotions, until finally, 2 emotions remain: anger and determination. "Well, I can't say that I understand how you feel, but I do know that you need to do something other than wait for someone who's disappeared. There's no news anywhere of any dead bodies, and his family is not in mourning, nor did they file a police report saying he is missing or kidnapped. So clearly, he's still alive somewhere and has just decided to hide himself away. That's not our problem. Our only concern in this family is you, Marcia. As she speaks, her parents draw closer to the bed. Marcia's mother, Tracy, sits beside her sister Annette, and Marcia's father, on the other side of the bed, walks forward, resting his hand gently on Marcia. It's been nearly 7 years since the whole family has been together in the same room. Well, that's at least one thing we can thank this Jullian for, Annette muses. Out loud, Annette says, "And for us as a family, we need you, Marcia, to take care of yourself. So here's what we're going to do. The four hold a whispered meeting." 4 weeks later, Marcia is at the Miami International Airport on her way to Europe. She remembers her time in Europe, away from everyone and everything. She recalls her memories from that time. The first few months were the most difficult, adjusting to the weather, to the people, to being away from everyone. Then slowly, as time passed, as the seasons changed, as she walked outside more and spoke more with others, people from different places, with different hopes, dreams, and perspectives, she started to heal. Conversations with strangers, on the beach, in the mountains, or at the store, people who spoke different languages, those small interactions helped Marcia focus and pulled her out of the deep hole she had sunk into. A year in, she was much better. Not back to her old self, maybe never back to her old self, but much improved. After the first year passed, she could see clearly. She could think again. She could work. She tried her hands at different things, but mostly she traveled around different regions in Europe and somehow was able to focus again on that thing that she loved the most: wine. Wines, vineyards, estates, the buying and the selling, collecting and trading wine, the winemaking process, the investment potentials of wine, everything fascinated her. She had even spent some time working with her hands in an actual vineyard. She had worked in the offices of an actual wine-growing company and had even lived for close to 6 months on an actual wine estate as a guest of a family dedicated to winemaking. Somewhere along the line, about the 4th year, she took a business class and got her MBA. She had decided to focus on the business aspect of wine production, particularly the selling of wine. That's how the new love of her life, Oltre Bacchus, was born. At first, she set it up in a little town in Spain. When she'd made enough money, she moved from Spain to a little place in France. From there, she decided that it was time to take her baby and herself back home to Miami. 6 months have passed since her return. Her days have been occupied with setting up Oltre Bacchus in Miami, securing clients, arranging suppliers, balancing her accounts, and doing everything else needed to ensure her baby will thrive here in her home state. And today, out of the blue, a ghost of her past walks in. Just like that, without warning. She runs her hand through her hair, twisting it to one side of her neck, and turns to look in the direction of Jullian's car, now long since disappeared. She spins around and heads back into the building. Her thoughts race as she walks back into her office. She knows that this is far from over.
For 5 long years, Marcia rebuilt herself from the ashes of heartbreak. She transformed her pain into success, created Oltre Bacchus, and returned home stronger than ever. But some ghosts don't stay buried. Without warning, Jullian Grayson is back. The man who disappeared on graduation day now stands in front of the woman he left behind. Why did he vanish? Where has he been all these years? And what does he want from Marcia now? In the next episode, the truth begins to unfold. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next episode. And tell us in the comments, would you forgive someone who disappeared without a word for 5 years?
This is Magenta Rose Confessions, where love, lies, and loss intertwine. Stay a while. There are more shadows to uncover.